NXT promised a triple header of championship glory on its March 25th edition live at the Performance Centre. Stephanie Vaquer put both her titles on the line, facing Fallon Henry for the North American title and kicking off the show against Jada Parker for the women's title. And we also got the Heritage Cup on the line with Javon Evans challenging Lexis King. But starting off with that Vaquer-Parker match, Parker was rolling against Vaquer, hitting the teardrop, only for Grace to pop up on the apron. The distraction allowed the Dark Angel to counter the hip tonic into a leg trap pin combination for the free. Afterwards, Fatal Influence struck, laying out the champ with a series of running sentons on Jane. With the Women's Championship on the line, this flew faster than expected. Even before the screw finish, they only had a few minutes to get going. It was a good showcase for Parker, who seemed to have the champ on the ropes. These two could deliver some interesting rematches down the stretch with more time and variety. Grace costing Parker the match may have protected the challenger, but it didn't make the champion look good. She seemed to escape with the victory rather than being at her best. The goal of the night is to reinforce the idea that Vaquer can do special things. So yeah, for that it didn't really come across too well, but I thought on the whole the match was solid. I'll give it 6 out of 10. We then moved on to DuPont and Aguirre versus Walker and Ledger in tag action. Walker and Ledger came out flying early on, but Wesley kept DuPont and Tyreek on track. Lee then distracted the ref to allow a cheat shot that set up DuPont and Ui to hit a combination of a back suplex and splash for the win. These two teams have been in conflict since they arrived in NXT, and this is as good as they've looked together. If Fraxium are soon heading to the main roster, you can see that these two could definitely play a big role in the tag division. Lee played a big role elevating DuPont and the team, but they're still not a team. They're getting closer together. Hank and Tank feel ready though, so yeah, I thought this was a good showcase, and I'll give it a 6 out of 10. Moving on into the Heritage Cup between Lexis King and Javon Evans. Javon Evans threw his whole body into his fight with King, but Obafemi arrived to ruin the young OG's moment. With the ref distracted, the NXT champ planted Evans with an apron powerbomb, forcing a count-out loss. Despite Dark State arrived with the lights going dark. Evans and Femi then brawled, and Trick arrived and blasted Evans with a trick knee. The new group mocked all involved, enjoying the carnage. Is anyone in NXT better than Evans right now? That's the big question. He really produced a great match out of Lexis here. While the result was disappointing, it's also expected with King challenging higher up, so I'm not really mad. Instead, he basically lost to Femi while King just enjoyed the spoils. It's smart booking, and obviously the motivation of the Dark State remain obscure, but I think there's definitely an intriguing story. Trick leaning heel as well, with Evans there as well, all going after NXT Championship. I think there's lots of intriguing storylines intertwining there. 7 out of 10. We then got Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson versus Tatum Paxley and Gigi Dolan. Lash and Jakara showed off early, but Dolan and Paxley's unorthodox pace was hard to follow. After the Meta Girls collided in the ring, Paxley and Dolan caught Jackson with the cemetery drive to win. This was messy to say the least. In particular, Dolan was not landing her moves when she got the tag, relying on the Meta Girls heavily to bump and make it convincing. Dolan and Paxley needed to win as NXT tries to legitimise a new duo, crossing brands with TNA. It didn't feel like they should have won. No, Legends and Jackson feel bigger than NXT, and they need to kind of escape the 50-50 booking. So yeah, this didn't really work for me. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 10. All Ego Ethan then took on Andre Chase, and on Chase fought fire against Ethan, but his hesitation spelled a zoom. All Ego hit a top rope powerbomb into a twisted grin for the victory. It's no surprise this is a good match given the talent involved. Chase has consistently shown he can prove, and Ethan's great, isn't he? In the end, All Ego picked up a big win, and a possible match against Ricky Saints would be great. NXT has played the long game in the aftermath to Chase's lodge to Holland. It's been 4 months, but it feels like he's finally starting to turn a corner, and coming up with an intriguing new story with Dixon and Connors. It'd be nice to see the move forward soon, especially with the return of Hale and Osborne. So yeah, it'd be intriguing to see where it goes, but I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. Before it was time for our main event, Fallon Henry against Vaquer for the North American title, and Henry focused on the injured ribs of Vaquer throughout this grueling battle for the double champion. After she knocked JC outside and sent Henry crashing headfirst into Nix, the Dark Angel landed the SVB to get the win. Fatal Influence then jumped on Vaquer afterwards until Jordan Grace made the save. Parker tried to attack Grace, but she was sent out of the ring. The show ended with Vaquer and Grace facing off while the women's division argued with Ava that they deserve the next shot at the Dark Angel. The dramatic hook of Vega's rib injury shoulder smashed in a big way, allowing it to really build up the stretch. Even if the interference late on, this was the best they've put together. I mean, if Fatal Influence had kept out, it would have been even better. But the overloaded kind of showed how stacked the women's division on, and whether it be Grace or Parker next, I think we're in good hands. And Vaquer, she's probably not going to hold both titles for long, but yeah, I'm enjoying what we saw on this show. I thought she might lose the North American title, especially with being main event, but no, I'm kind of happy she's going to keep a hold of it for a bit longer, so I'll give it a 7 out of 10. Overall, NXT this week gets a 6 out of 10 from me. I thought, yeah, on the whole, a pretty decent episode of NXT. Wasn't any really too many major developments heading into Stand and Deliver, but I thought the action we got with the two Vaquer title matches, please see her retain, was pretty solid, as well as the Heritage Catch match. Javon looks great. So yeah, just continuing to build up some intriguing storylines ahead of the pay. That's it for this video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe, follow us on our socials, link in the description below for daily wrestling news, meme and content. Subscribe to our other channels on screen right now, that'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace out.